If you're only into box lacrosse, you're missing a whole other part of this game. College lacrosse is where so many of these guys start. This is where they develop. This is where the rivalries get built. And this is where a lot of the future NLL names come from. So this year, I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to follow college lacrosse for the first time, learn the teams, learn the conferences, and learn the future stars so I can bring that knowledge back to the box audience and actually be ahead of it. And honestly, it's just a fantastic version of the sport. The atmosphere, the rivalry, the styles, it's a whole different world. So today is College Lacrosse 101. If you're new, you're in the right place because I'm new too. We're going to learn this together and I'm going to bring you with me as I go. And then next week, we're doing the exact same thing with the PLL. Full deep dive, start to finish. All right, let's get right into it. Welcome back. My name is Jake McDonald. I am Anything Lacrosse, and this is the game that never sits still. Comment what you want on the next episode, and I'll try to squeeze it in there. Today is the foundation episode. I'm learning the NCAA Division I men's lacrosse from scratch. If you're new to, perfect. If you've watched for years, correct me when I'm wrong and tell me what I need to know. I'm doing my best to try to put all the stuff together, but I'm sure I'm going to make some slight imperfections or slight mistakes. So please yell at me. I love it when you guys correct me. I really do. Also, quick note, I am new to the PLL. I did watch the finals last year, but that's pretty much the extent of my PLL. And I'm going to be covering that as well. I think that it's important to try to get fans from the PLL and field over to box and vice versa as well. We need to learn how to grow together instead of trying to battle against each other. Personally, I love box all day. It'll always be, what really brought me into this sport. But now that I've watched lacrosse a long time, or not a long time, now that I watch more and more lacrosse, I find I really do like watching sixes and field more and more. Field lacrosse basics, okay? A lot of this stuff is going to be, similar to box, or there's certain positions that obviously overlap, but field is, I don't want to say slightly different because it is, quite a bit different. Obviously, nets are bigger, less goalie equipment. These goalies out here that are in there are crazy. I will say anybody who plays field lacrosse as a goalie, there's something, you're different, bro. And I respect it. We need guys like you. Don't get me wrong. There is no way you could tell me you're going to stick me in net. I'm going to get whipped at. There's a rubber ball and have it just smoke me. I'm going to be the one that stops it. Now, I will say when I've watched field or even sixes even, it's like I do respect, like these goalies are fantastic. I always come, Brett Dobson's probably, in my opinion, one of the best field goalies in the world. That's just from what like I said, the very little knowledge I know. But anyway, let's get right into it. So first off, field basics, okay? Your face-off specialist, he obviously takes the draws, and that's just like in box lacrosse as well, pretty much, right? Next, we have long stick midfielder. So pole at midfield, huge in transition to defense. So he's got a massive pole, essentially. He's a big guy for transition. He's also obviously a big guy to try to knock the attackman off their game. Then you got your short stick defenseman. So you have short stick defensive midfielder, or SSDM for the abbreviation. And obviously that's just like a defenseman with a regular stick or a short stick. New to this game like I am, I kind of wanted to see, well, what seems to be that swing these games and stuff. I just, looking around online, even just talking to AI. So it says, face-offs really turn things, or you can swing the game, turnovers. And face-offs, it'll be interesting to see how much they impact field compared to box, kind of like they do in box. Are they more impactful? Are they less impactful? Or are they about the same? Turnovers, obviously huge thing in any sport you're watching. You got clearing and riding, and then you got man up efficiency, and then you got goalie play. So obviously goalie, a lot of people say goalies don't do anything in field. I can tell you just from the little bit amount that I have watched, I would disagree with that all day. Division I men's lacrosse is organized into conferences. Conferences matter because the NCAA tournament is built around them. You have automatic qualifiers from conference tournaments, and then you have plus at-large teams that are picked by the committee. So that's kind of how you make these, the finals. For 2026, the NCAA format is 10 automatic qualifiers, 8 at-large selections, 2 opening round games involving the 4 lowest-ranked automatic qualifiers to get to a standout 16-team bracket. So it's going to be interesting to see how biased these picks are. Me watching it from the beginning, I'm going to actually get to see what teams I think should make it. So I'll have all my stuff coming out for that stuff as soon as I kind of know what I'm talking about a little bit more. But I think that it is kind of interesting, that portion of it. So you can obviously you gotta be a top team. There's 70 plus teams in this Division I men's, and only 18 teams make it plus whatever. But that's crazy. So the season is basically early season, non-conference chaos. You got conference play and conference races. You have conference tournaments. Then May becomes survive in advance, essentially. So May is where everyone plays to May, and I've heard of this, the championship weekend, all that stuff. I think that's the last 4 teams in the like in the left in the tournament is that weekend, and it's the biggest weekend of lacrosse. So 1000% can't wait to get to that there, right? So you have D1 conferences, okay? So we're gonna go through all the conferences. Now again, if I missed something, please let me know. This is overwhelming to get into. I think that everybody that maybe knows about college lacrosse already is kind of growing up with it. It's kind of college football to me. Like I do understand college football, so that's kind of what I'm trying to compare this to a little bit. But even college football to me, I kind of just watch it sporadically, and I'll watch, I'll bet on it, and I'll watch games here and there, but I still don't even fully understand that. I will fully understand this, but to start and look at it from an outview, the way I kind of calm myself down a little bit, because this is like fucking overwhelming shit. So if you're already into college lacrosse, great, perfect. You probably grew up watching it, or I know there's that big guys in the States love this stuff. It's huge down there. It is the version of lacrosse down there, as they like to put it. And I think that, obviously when you grew up with it, you understand it so easily. But for an outsider coming in that has no experience with this is very, very, very overwhelming. So we're going to but don't worry, we're going to break it down for us, me included, and yourselves if you're new to this. And just, I'm right there with you guys. So don't worry. I was like this in box. And if you go watch my more recent box stuff, I've learned so much in such a little amount of time. So I will get there, and I will become one of the, a more knowledgeable person in college lacrosse. By the end of the season, I'm going to know this thing in and out. So just bear with me, boys. So if I do say anything that is wrong or incorrect, please correct me, because I'm just kind of going off what I've looked up and what I've researched and the help of AI and all that kind of stuff. So this is where I'm learning this all off of. I'm going to go to the site. We're going to kind of go over that. The site looks very confusing. It doesn't look like they put in anything up. If I'm looking at the wrong spot, I'm only looking at one, like the NCAA site, but it looks like all their stuff's from last year. If this is starting the end of I think it starts the end of January, if I'm not mistaken, we should be having some stuff put up. So I'm going to go into the site in a little bit here, but let's rock through the D1 conferences to start, okay? So we have the ACC, which is the Atlantic Coast Conference. You have Big Ten, you have the Ivy Leagues, you have Big East, you have Patriot League, American East, CAA, or Coastal Athletic Association. You have the A10, the Atlantic 10. You have the ASUN, the Atlantic Sun Conference. You have the MAAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and then you have the NEC, which is the Northeast Conference, and then you also have independents in there as well. Independents teams around as well, and they're kind of more, from what I understand, it's up to them to make their schedule. So, a lot, like, just look at those. We have all those conferences. Like, that's insane, guys. That's insane. So to win a national championship is no joke, and it's hard to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's hard to do in every sport. Don't get me wrong, but like, that's insane. There's a lot of competition you got on here. It's nice to see. Like, I had Josh Mills on my podcast last week, and he obviously plays D1 college lacrosse, and the kid's a stud, obviously. And he said in that interview, if you didn't listen to it, there was 5 Canadians when he started there, I think, and now there's 12 this year. So his first year there was 5 Canadians, now there's 12 there. So Canada, I'm big on, I always say this, everyone looks at going pro as making it. I look at it, if you can get a college lacrosse scholarship out of it, whether that be, partially paid, whatever. I think that education is when you made it, in my opinion. It's not so much making it to the pros, it's making it and getting that education paid for or partially paid for, and getting yourself a really good jump in on life. Lacrosse can do that, and I think a lot of people overlook that aspect. And any young athletes that were, kind of in, especially hockey players, young hockey players, everyone's so dedicated for hockey in Canada. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying this by any means. Lacrosse is still hard to get into. You still be a dedicated athlete. You have to want it. You have to all that stuff. But it is an easier route to walk in through and get a lacrosse, to get on a lacrosse team than it is a hockey team, in my opinion. Now, maybe I'm way off base there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I think if you want your kid to go quote unquote pro, or like at that next level, I'd be pushing lacrosse on a kid more than I would be hockey myself, or football, or anything, especially from a Canadian's point of view. We produce really good top tier lacrosse players, and the world knows that. And after the Olympics, the world's really going to know that when we win gold, as Team Canada does. So let's get right into it. So we got conference strength here, okay? So I got AI to kind of rank the conferences. So you guys let me know how bang on they are. But when I look at them, to me, this kind of makes sense. So you got tier 1, it's got the Big Ten, you got ACC, and then you got the Ivy League in there. Tier 2, you've got the Big East, you've got Patriot League, and the CAA. Tier 3 is America East and A10, and then Tier 4, you have the ASUN, the MAAC, and the NEC. So you guys let me know what you think. I know I know with me, from what my little knowledge in college lacrosse is right now, I will say Ivy League. I know those guys. I know Yale always has a pretty solid team. I also know, Syracuse. I think they're in the Big Ten. I think we're gonna go through this in a second here, but they are always a great team as well, or they are kind of that scrappy team anyway, from what I was reading already on it. And they have a big following. I'm pretty sure Trey Deer, that's where he's playing this year, so I'll definitely be watching them. But, you got a lot of big names that come out of Syracuse, even historically. So those are the kind of franchises I know right off the top of my head. I think another one, like I said, Yale. Another one is actually, really, that's really all I know. So we're on the site here, and the site's not overly great. I'm not gonna lie. Just gonna kind of run through who kind of won what last year, maybe, and we'll start with there, and I think that'll be a good little start for us. So let's go. So right away, now this is insane, guys. Now we're gonna obviously some of these names, or at least the top one, we're gonna know, and he's absolutely been lighting up in the NLL already. CJ Kurst had a 4.32 goal per game stat last year. Other guys, these guys were all over 3. So you had Mikey Wieser, I'm sorry, Wieser. He played for Tossin. You had John Alley, played for Bellarmine. You had Jack Spidell, played for Harvard. You had Jack Turner, played for Colgate. You had Ben Dutton, played for St. Joseph's. You had Dominic Peter Mala for North Carolina. You had Kalen Driggs as Air Force. You had Pratt Reynolds, and he played for Siena. And then you had Jackson Eicher, Army West Point. He was a second with a 3.86. So those guys were all over 3 goals per game. Impressive. I'm going to butcher some names here. I apologize to everybody. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody's listening to me when I started watching box lacrosse, they know how bad I butchered names. I've gotten immensely better. And I will do a lot better of a job as time goes on. But for now, you're just going to have to deal with it, I guess. Sorry, boys. I think it's pretty prestigious to play for an Ivy League school on any sports team. But I know lacrosse is kind of something that the Ivies seem to really take pride in lacrosse. And it's funny because it is called the gentleman's game. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. But it's pretty cool. So we've got scoring offense. We had Cornell at number 1 out of 15.74 goals per game. Yeah. Obviously they're going to have, with having CJ Kurst not there this year, that's going to probably drop, I would assume. But you have VMI number 2, Army West Point number 3, Colgate number 4, Fairfield number 5, Harvard number 6, Princeton number 7, Anna number 8, Richmond number 9, and Notre Dame at number 10. Huge. Wonder if Notre Dame is also independent, just like they are in, I would assume, because I thought in college football they're independent, or they used to be. I feel like they might have joined something since anyway. Then you've got for goals allowed per game, or scoring defense, I guess, right? You have Army West Point number 1 at 750. That's not surprising to me. I mean, a bunch of Army guys. You would have to think they got to be one of the most disciplined teams in the league. Somebody comments if you think that, but that's kind of how I look at it. You have Maryland. Army West Point's the only one with under 8 goals per game as well. So you got Maryland, Richmond at number 3, St. Joseph's at number 4, Sacred Hearts at number 5, Rutgers at number 6, Georgetown at number 7, Ohio State at number 8. Or tied for number 7 technically, Notre Dame at number 9, and Michigan at number 10. So there you guys have it. Let's just go through a couple teams here. Let's go through a couple conferences. I'm going to give you 2 guys to watch from each conference, okay? This, I really just kind of got ChatGPT to go in, pull me a couple guys that looked pretty good. Give you kind of a rundown on the 2 players from each team to keep an eye on in the 3 big conferences that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is something that I got ChatGPT to pull up together. So if somebody's not... because I couldn't, the rosters are too hard to try to go pull up. They're not all in one centrally located spot. If I'm wrong, please tell me, right? Please tell me I'm wrong, but I was having a hell of a time finding them. So I got Chat to go through and pull the information kind of for me. When I get Chat to do this stuff, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. So some of these players might be not there anymore. I'm going to kind of give you a rundown what it gave me, and I'm going to take this with a grain of salt, so should you. So these are kind of 2 players from each team that ChatGPT pulled for me from each of the 3 main conferences, just to kind of give you guys an insight on who to watch, I guess. So we got the ACC we're going to start with first. This is the Atlantic Coast Conference. So Duke Blue Devils, you had Kyle Colsley and Patrick Jamieson as the 2 picks to watch. He's obviously Kyle Colsley. It says he's an attack and a midfielder, and Patrick Jamieson is a goaltender. And then you've got North Carolina Tar Heels. Again, I know they're interesting too. You have Owen Duffy as an attackman, and Kent Goody as a goalie to watch. Fighting Irish, you have Luke Miller as an attackman, and you have Alex Zeif as a goalie. Syracuse orange, you have Joey Spallina, which I'm probably butchering his name. I know he's kind of the guy that's going to be projected to go first overall this year, and we'll see what happens. Michael, and then he's an attackman, obviously, and then Michael Lipotiti. Wow, these things. Hold on. Sorry, that's what it is. Ipolati as a goalie. So I apologize again if I'm butchering these names. Do my best. Then you got Virginia Cavaliers as the Brandon Milton, Kyle Morris. You've also got, that's for the first, the ACC. Then we got Big Ten. We got Maryland Terpents with Braden Urksa as an attackman and Brian Rupel as a goalie to keep an eye out on. John Hopkins Blue Jays, Hunter Chavette as an attackman, and Philip Verardi as a goalie. You got Michigan Wolverines, Matt Hahn as a midfielder, and Rowan Clay as a defenseman. Ohio State Buckeyes, you got Garrick Haas as the attackman, and Jake Cohen as a defenseman. And then you got Penn State Nittany Lions, Kyle Lehman as an attackman, and Ben Johnson as a goalie. And then you got Rutgers, I'm just going to say, you got the Scarlet Knights, Colin Kelly as an attackman, and Duke Richmond as a midfielder. Duke Richmond II as a midfielder. And then the Ivies, you got the Cornell Big Red, Ryan Goldstein as the attackman, and you got Cooper Simpson as the long stick midfielder or defenseman. And then you got Princeton Tigers as Jackson Kane as the attackman, and Cooper Kistler as a defenseman. Yale Bulldogs are David Anderson and Hy Conrad as a goalie, and Harvard Crimson as Logan Ip as a midfielder, and Jack Speedell as an attackman. And then you got Penn Quakers as a face-off guy, and Chris Patterson as an attackman. You got the Brown Bears with Brady O'Kane, and you got as an attackman, and then you got Jack Curran as a defensive long stickman. Then you got Dartmouth Big Green, Eli Goldstein as a midfielder, and Ryan Williamson as a goaltender. I wonder if that'd be funny. Are they Eli there and Ryan? I wonder if they're brothers and they're just, or like siblings, and they're just decided to go to different schools. That's pretty wild. I thought you want to play it together as a brother, but teach their own. Anyway, guys, so there you go. Again, that's just a couple players ChatGPT pulled for me because, again, these rosters seem kind of all over the place. There's a lot of old information on the sites from what I can see. So anyway, I will be following college lacrosse this year and give you guys kind of a rundown of what each conference actually looks like. So you got the ACC is the Atlantic Coast Conference, okay? So it's got Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Syracuse, and Virginia on there. Okay, so obviously that's a massive conference. I mean, Duke's always got a solid team. North Carolina, that's the team I was actually thinking about earlier that I couldn't remember. I have heard a lot about them, and they noticed Notre Dame. Obviously, they're in a conference here, which is cool. They're a pretty solid school too. Syracuse is the kind of, every time I hear people talk about Syracuse, I know their fans are crazy, all that stuff. And Virginia, it's gonna be interesting what Virginia's like in there, just because I mean all these other schools are so huge, but they are I know they are a sports school. I do know that. So I'm sure they do have a solid team. So the Big Ten, you got John Hopkins, you got Maryland, you got Michigan, you got Ohio State, and you got Penn State and Rutgers. Rutgers, is that how I'm saying it right? I think somebody correct me. I'm probably saying that wrong, but Rutgers. So that's another one. That's actually a pretty decent conference as well. Michigan is another one that I always know. Penn State is one that I know is a scrappy little team like them. Ivy Leagues, you got Brown, Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, Penn, Princeton, and Yale. And I think, honestly, from what I understand, I think this might be the conference. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I understand, CJ Kurtz obviously played for Cornell last year. And I just know Yale, like I said, always has a solid team. I think I know there's a big rivalry between the Ivies, and to be honest with you, I didn't realize Penn was an Ivy, or maybe that's just in college, or maybe that's just my lack of, college knowledge down in the States, but I didn't realize Penn was in there. I knew Dartmouth was, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure how the Dartmouth team they have either, but overall not bad. Then we got the Big East. So we got Denver, Georgetown, Ket, Providence, St. John's, and Villanova. So that's honestly, that's got to be a little fun. That's got to be a fun division or conference to watch as well. It's going to be a fun conference to watch as well. Then you got the Patriot League. Who doesn't love that name? You got Army, Boston University, Bucknell, Colgate, Holy Cross, Lafayette, Lehigh, Loyola, Maryland, and Navy. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that as well. Please somebody correct me. Once I start watching these teams, I'll know obviously better. Then you've got the CAA, Delaware, Drexel, Fairfield, Hofstra, Monmouth, and Towson. That's Towson. But those are some different names too, man. American East, you have Albany, Binghamton, Bryant, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, UMass Lowell, UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore and County, Vermont. So that's your American East. A10, which is the Atlantic 10, High Point, Hobart, Massachusetts, Richmond, St. Joseph's. I wonder if these just are in that division, in that conference, because they are part of that in like a football or something, because they don't have 10 teams. So I would assume like the A10 would be 10 teams. I don't know. That's just, there's another one up here that did that too. Same as the Big Ten. They don't have 10 teams either in that one too. So somebody tell me about that, what that makes sense on. But anyway, then you have the A-Sun or the Atlantic Sun Conference. So you have Air Force, Bellarmine, Cleveland State, Detroit Mercy, Jacksonville, Mercer, Robert Morris, and Utah. And then you have MAAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. You have Kansas, Iona, Manhattan, Marist, Memac, Mount St. Mary's, Quinnipiac, Ryder, Siena, St. Bonaventure. And then finally, we have the NEC, the Northeast Conference. You have Lemoyne, LIU, so Long Island University, Mercyhurst. Shout out Mercyhurst. That's going to be our team this year because Josh Mills, I'm rooting for him all day. Obviously, he came on the show. He's the first he's the first D1 lacrosse player to be on the show. So we got to be a Mercyhurst fan, obviously. Sacred Heart, St. Francis, Stonehill, and Wagner. So yeah, and I know a big thing, I think with a few of these teams, but I know Mercyhurst especially just came into D1. So I think this is it's a big jump up. I know they were a huge kind of D2 school for a long time, and now they're playing D1. So they played their first season last season, going to play their second season this season. And they're riding with the Canadians, a lot of 12 Canadians on the team. So that's huge, absolutely massive. So we're hoping for them. But obviously, we'll be mainly covering probably like the 3 top tier divisions, probably like the ACC, the Big Ten, the Ivy League. I like the Big East too, to be honest. I kind of like the Patriot League as well, just because they've got the Navy and they got the Army. I know those guys. It's always fun to watch those guys because obviously, like, they're aspiring guys to be in the Army or the Navy, so they're just in the shape those guys are in are just incredible. And I think that they're obviously focused on other things, but athletics, they would just naturally be good at it, you would think anyway. So exciting to watch them. That'll be interesting. You have the NCAA tournament quick summary. So I'm going to give you guys a quick summary of how the tournaments go, essentially. So we've got conference tournaments decide automatic qualifiers. Then the committee fills the brackets with the at-large teams. So essentially what it's going to sound like is whoever they think has done a really good job and should be in there will get to go in there. I'm sure there's going to be controversy with that stuff. Like I said, this is my first year watching this, so I'm sure there has been before, and I'm sure there will be coming up because I don't see everybody agreeing on everything, especially if it's 2 tight teams or 4 tight teams. So for 2026, you have 10 automatic qualifiers. So that's from tournaments. And then you have 8 at-large and 2 opening round games for the lowest ranked automatic qualifiers. So kind of cool. And then it's 16-team bracket, and everything is about May. So everything leads into that May championship weekend. You want to get a championship weekend, and that's the final 4 teams fighting it out to see who is going to be the national champion. Exciting weekend. They bring in like a ton of people wherever that's being held, and it's a great time from what I already read on it a little bit. College lacrosse, right? So we've got a bunch of different conferences. You got 3 mainly top tier conferences that are always producing kind of those late teams. And then you've got some scrappy conferences, and then you got some underdogs. And I love the underdogs, you know me. So we are definitely loving that. But this season, we're going to start with college lacrosse. We're going to see how this goes. I'm excited about it. It is very overwhelming. Even just going over through all this, the site's not very friendly. And it's just, nothing's really updated greatly is the best way I can put it. So it's hard to find the information that I need to find. So I kind of want to just give you a quick rundown. I'm going to be doing these. I'm going to be going through everything every week about college lacrosse, about the PLL. We'll be doing 1 field podcast a week, which is going to be this one. And you guys let me know what you think. If this flops, I might go back to 2 blocks a week. But I do think that bringing these guys in here or bringing fans in here from box lacrosse or vice versa is just how we're going to grow both sports. And like I said, this excites me because it allows me to be kind of, knowing who to watch out for. I'm going to be excited to watch. Different games and just how different teams develop, how different players really shine. I've already got some guys that I'm going to be watching. Trey Deer comes to mind right away. I think he's kind of going to be the next big thing. I know there's some people that don't think that. I'm pretty high on him myself. And I think that it's going to be nice to see development in these guys and see the next NLL stars come up. Because as you can see, CJ Kurtz just came out of there. You got Brendan O'Neill that plays, obviously, field at a high level, and he's just been fantastic this year already. You've got a lot of other young guys. The English brothers are both obviously played high level D1 college lacrosse. So that's huge there. So let's get right into, I want to go right into the PLL a little bit here. So I know we talked about college lacrosse the whole time, but I am going to talk about the PLL in general. And they've got their schedule was released. So let's see if we can go find that quickly. All right, so the PLL, their 2026 schedule. So we've got the championship series, which is a tournament they're actually putting on. It looks like that's going to be sixes. So that'll be interesting. So we've got the championship series. I just pulled up the page here. The fast game on 2 feet just got faster. The top 4 teams from the 2025 PLL season compete for the right to hoist championship series trophy. So you got the Denver Outlaws, the New York Atlas, California Redwoods, and the Carolina Chaos. So that's kind of a little bit of a rough thing because I'm not going to say I don't want to trash PLL too bad right now, but it kind of throws me off because it's like New York Atlas won last year, I thought, and Jeff Teat's not going to be able to play in that, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Got the Women's Lacrosse League returning, which is kind of cool. That's nice to see them get some exposure, obviously. We like to see that. I'm good for anything, honestly, as long as you just, yeah, they're really, you're going to see the PLL push this 2026 or you're going to see the PLL push these sixes like crazy. And it's because it's Paul Rabiel, he's really, had a big say on that. We're going to be rocking the championship series. So it's a little bit of a tournament, and that's starting February 27th to May 8th. And the regular season of the PLL starts May 8th. So right as soon as that tournament's over, essentially, or that championship series is over, which is going to be cool. It's cool. I'm down to do I really am down to try anything different. So it's going to be interesting. There's only 4 teams playing. Looks like you essentially have, March. Yeah, it goes to March 8th, not May. What am I talking about? And then the regular season starts May 8th. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes way more sense. Okay, so basically the regular season. So I'm just gonna run through quickly. I'm just gonna run through the PLL schedule with you. It's nothing crazy. I just want to kind of give you the rundown. 2026. Now, if you don't know, the PLL is played out into they basically all the teams show up to one location and they play their game for that weekend on that location, which I think is an interesting way, but also I'm not a massive fan of it. So you guys let me know what you think. But first I got May 8th to May 10th is Salt Lake City. You got Rhode Island, May 15th to May 17th. You got Baltimore, May 29th to the 31st. Charlotte, June 5th to the 7th. You got Long Island, June 19th to the 21st. You got San Diego, June 26th to 28th. You've got the All-Star Weekend, July 4th weekend, which is cool. They squeeze an All-Star Weekend in. I like that, honestly. You got Chicago, July 10th to the 12th. Got Fairfield, July 17th to the 19th. Got Denver, July 24th to the 26th. And it's the Outlaws Homecoming. You got Columbus, July 31st to the August 2nd. Got Boston, which is the Cannons Homecoming, August 7th to the 9th. You've got Philadelphia, August 14th to the 16th. And you've got Minneapolis, August 29th to the 30th. You got Salt Lake City, September 7th. And then you've got New Jersey, the 18th to the 20th for the championship. New Jersey gets a championship this year. So there you have it, guys. There's the PLL week. I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to do a deep dive episode into the PLL next week. That's going to be a next big thing. I wanted to kind of do a deep dive into the college lacrosse. I hope this was deep enough for you. I couldn't really find the rosters. That's disappointing for me. So college lacrosse will start with late games in late January with preseason games, early games. Teams often play exhibition games in late January, early February. Regular season starts in earnest in early February and runs through April. And then conference tournaments are in late April. And then the NCAA tournament is in May, ending with the championship weekend on Memorial Day weekend. So there you have it. There's your schedule. There you have it. There's your schedule for the NCAA. Again, I hope this was kind of deep enough. I know I feel sometimes like I don't go deep enough, but at the same time, it's really hard to get the information. I don't want to give you guys wrong information, so I'd prefer not to go through rosters that haven't been changed. I noticed CJ Kurse was on the roster, so Cornell still and stuff. So it's I'm not going to go through everything if it's not. Once it's all been changed, maybe closer to the season, we'll be going to maybe do a deep roster dive. But this is kind of college lacrosse in a nutshell for anybody looking to get into it. Like I said, I'm excited to start watching. All these young stars are going to end up being whether they're stars in the PLL, NLL, or you never see them play again. It's just nice to see high quality lacrosse. D1, there's 3 divisions, which again, as much as D2 looks so, really good lacrosse as well, I need to get my head around D1 first. So once we get D1 this year, we go well through this. D2 will be probably coming next year. I'll call for that next season. But let's get D1 handled first. Let's get all this stuff going. I'm pumped for this. I'm excited. But with that being said, guys, this is the episode. Let me know. Leave a comment if you like this stuff. Leave a comment if I did a horrible job and I should just stick to box because I've kind of got a good foundation. But the funny thing is, I was this bad at the start of box as well. So I will get better with field. I'll get better with the names. I'll get better with how everything works. I'm going to be putting my thoughts out just like I always do. I'll be doing one field lacrosse podcast a week. So that'll be covering college and the PLL. I can't wait. Anything to grow this game. Again, like I said, I really am enjoying. I find enjoy field lacrosse way more now that I understand lacrosse more. And I can't wait. I'm going to be trying to get out some high school games in the local area as well. Just try to touch base with them, see what's going on, see how competitive it is here, and hopefully make some connections for guys. So with that all being said, guys, my name is Jake McDonald. Sorry, before I do this, I actually want to say, if you're still here, thanks for this. Leave me a comment, especially if you're still here. I really like to see if anybody even listens this far. I don't know. I know I do. I know I listen to my own podcast like a loser. But I always like to just kind of give it a once over, and then obviously as I'm editing, and then I always like to listen to what the actual finished product comes out like. So usually I'll throw it on when I'm working and just kind of listen to myself go on. I don't know if that's weird or not. I don't know if anybody other podcasters do this. Probably not. But I just like to just try to hear myself. So and try to make it better, because if I'm listening to it, I can always make it better, right? So this was probably a little bit of a sporadic, all over the place kind of thought bubble, but I'll try to structure it a bit better. It's kind of my first field structure. Feel like I have my box podcast structure down really solid now. So now it's just kind of doing the same thing with field. So with that being said, guys, as always, thank you for coming. My name is Jacob McDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is a game that never sits still. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.